It was a time shrouded in darkness, a period that scarred the annals of human history, the era of World War II. At the heart of this cataclysmic storm stood one man, a name that would echo through eternity with infamy: Adolf Hitler. As the world plunged into chaos, Hitler's rise to power unfolded like a sinister symphony. In the early 1930s, Germany was reeling from the aftermath of World War I, grappling with economic turmoil and political instability. In this cauldron of discontent, Hitler emerged as a charismatic yet malevolent force, captivating the minds of the disillusioned. The Nazi Party, under Hitler's leadership, exploited the despair of the German people, promising a utopian vision that masked the venomous ideology lurking beneath. The swastika, a symbol that would later become synonymous with terror, fluttered ominously over the horizon as Hitler's shadow grew longer. Behind the charismatic facade lay the toxic doctrines of Hitler's ideology, a toxic blend of anti-Semitism, Aryan supremacy, and territorial expansion. The venomous rhetoric spewed from Hitler's speeches painted a distorted image of a master race destined to rule the world, while scapegoating Jews as the embodiment of all evil. As Hitler tightened his grip on Germany, the propaganda machinery worked tirelessly to instill fear and obedience. The Nuremberg laws stripped Jews of their rights, marking the beginning of a dehumanizing process that would culminate in the Holocaust. The world, however, remained blissfully unaware of the impending horror. As Hitler's insatiable ambitions swelled, so did the storm clouds of war. The invasion of Poland in 1939 ignited the spark that would engulf the world in flames. The Blitzkrieg, a lightning-fast military strategy, crushed opposition and thrust Europe into the abyss of conflict. The world watched in horror as Hitler's war machine marched ruthlessly across borders, leaving devastation in its wake. The Battle of Britain, the Blitz, and the harrowing siege of Leningrad etched tales of suffering and resilience into the collective memory of humanity. Yet amidst the chaos, a chilling silence surrounded the atrocities committed by the Nazis. The concentration camps, where millions would meet their agonizing end, remained concealed in the shadows, waiting to be unveiled. The war raged on, consuming nations and testing the limits of human endurance. However, it was not until the turning point of Stalingrad that the world began to grasp the magnitude of Hitler's malevolence. The icy winds of the Russian winter bore witness to a brutal clash, where the Red Army halted the seemingly unstoppable German advance. As the tides turned, the Allies gathered strength, launching daring operations like D-Day to reclaim occupied territories. Meanwhile, the discovery of concentration camps sent shockwaves through the world, exposing the horrors of systematic genocide. The magnitude of human suffering was unfathomable, and the question echoed: how could one man unleash such darkness upon the world? As the Allies closed in on all fronts, Hitler's desperation reached its zenith. The Battle of Berlin became the apocalyptic stage for the final act of this dark drama. The once mighty Third Reich crumbled under the weight of its own atrocities. In a bunker beneath the ruins of Berlin, Hitler faced the inevitable: defeat. The man who had plunged the world into chaos, who had orchestrated the genocide of millions, now faced the stark reality of his actions. The dictator who once believed in a 1,000-year Reich saw his empire collapse in a matter of years. Hitler's suicide marked the end of a chapter, but the legacy of his malevolence lingered. The Nuremberg trials sought justice for the perpetrators of war crimes, yet the scars on the world were deep and enduring. The Holocaust, a symbol of humanity's darkest hour, served as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked hatred. In the aftermath of World War II, the world grappled with the challenge of preventing such horrors from happening again. The United Nations was born, and efforts to promote peace and human rights gained newfound urgency. The Nuremberg Principles established a framework for holding individuals accountable for crimes against humanity. The dark story of Hitler and the reality of World War II serve as a cautionary tale for future generations. The world witnessed the devastating consequences of unchecked power, blind obedience, and the propagation of hate. As we reflect on this somber chapter in history, let it be a solemn reminder that the shadows of the past must not be forgotten, for in remembering, we guard against the recurrence of such darkness in our shared future.